Hey, how's it going today? Today is February 10th, 4 days before Valentine's Day. Right off the bat, um, we had a nice 5 game slate yesterday. A little trickery here and there with the big three is in, and then guess what? The big three is out, and then guess what? The big three is back in, and then it was just a lot of, you had to be glued. You had to be glued, to your informational sites in order for you guys to take advantage of, those situations that we had at hand yesterday. Either, you probably could have got stuck with some cheaper players in your team, and hopefully that didn't happen to you all. Hopefully you guys made the adjustments necessary. So right off the back, I'll tell you a couple places that you can find me at. If you got a phone, you can go to your app store, whether you have Android or Apple, and you can search Support District Radio. And once you download the app, it's free, and then you can look in the section My Radio Chicago. And then that's where you can find me at. YouTube, definitely, I'm here. I'm here for you guys. Especially for my listeners, either you're listening to Support District Radio or you're coming to YouTube, and then if you want a visual, you can definitely come right here to YouTube, and that's where I'm at. You'll search Firstdown Podcast, and you'll see me and the homie Ming Lee, which can't be with us today. He's probably in the lab doing all types of stuff, whether it's making music or whatever. He's just so versatile. Anyway, you can follow me on Twitter at Denzel1. Tweet me, ask me questions. I'm here. I'm around. Give me a follow. And another thing about my Twitter, I have a very nice list. If you guys are familiar with Twitter lists, I have a very nice list. You can follow me. You can follow my Twitter list. In that list is NBA beat writers. It contains NBA beat writers, so you can refresh that list all day long. Get some of the information hand on, see players practicing. Just get a lot of information, that you need at your disposal. Now, if you got Facebook, first of all, I have a Facebook Firstdown Podcast page. That page, you can like that page. It's a page where I post my lineups and other informational things, and I spread my my lineups through all my different social media sites from that page. I also have a Facebook group. Some wonderful people, a host of great admins, 6,000 members. We're just really having a great time. We're winning money, and just knock on the door, and we'll let you in. We don't allow lineup selling or anything like that. We're a community. We help each other, and we leave it at that. And we cover a lot of sports and a whole bunch of different topics. A recommended website, the good folks over there at draftshot.com. I can't say enough about these guys. They're handling every sport. And the links to everything I'm explaining to you, I will be in the description. Draft Shot, they're wonderful people over there, and they cover all sports, for the daily fantasy sports world. Great folks. My A1 since day one. So now, back to the regular schedule program. Yesterday, I had a couple lineups. Cashed on Fanduel, cashed on DraftKings. Faded Westbrook, faded Harden. Hit 300. That's that. Now, moving into today. Gonna talk about a few games. We got a nice 9-game on tap today, a 9-gamer. And starting it right off, probably my most favorite game of the day. I hate I have to kick it off with this, but I have to because it's right there. It's the New York and Denver game right off the back, my favorite game of the day. So let's get it on out the way. Um, we have a 228 total on this one. Uh, New York is at home, so let's look at the Denver side of things. Injury situation. Keep an eye out on Gallinari. I don't know. After yesterday with the big three, anything can happen. So, Fareed, keep an eye on his injury situation. Emmanuel Mudiay said he won't play today, but just be on alert for these injury situations. Now, right off the back, we got Nikola Jokic. I love him tomorrow. I like him all the time. He's 9,200. His price is coming down on Fanduel. He's 9,900. I definitely like the play. One of my favorite plays of the day. Wilson Chandler coming in at 7,100. Especially keeping an eye on injury situations. He's definitely in play at 6,700 on Fanduel. Fire him up. Will Barton, his price is rising. With all the injury situations we got going on, he should see an uptick in minutes. So, I really like to play here. He'll probably get a chance to play some 2 and a 3. And then you got, let me see, you got Wilson, not Wilson. Yeah, Wilson Chandler, he'll probably be playing, some 3 and 4. You never know. So keep an eye on the injury situation. Keep an eye on the lineup situation. And then, there you have it. Jameer Nelson, don't mind the play. I'll probably be looking somewhere else. Jamal Murray, someone who has been stepping up, so he's coming in at 3,800. He's hitting value every single game. So that's somebody that you can really look at, Jamal Murray. At 3,800. He doesn't even need 20 to hit 5 times. Or does he? No, he doesn't need. Well, you want to see like 20 or 25 from him. I'll put it at that. So, Gary Harris, somebody who I probably won't be on at 5K, but it's hard to pinpoint when he's going to have a great game. But he's probably somebody I'm not looking to with all these shiny new Jokic and Chandlers and Bartons over here. Over on the New York side of things, let's look. We got Carmelo Anthony heading it off at 7,700. Fairly decent price for what he can do. He's 8,100 on FanDuel. Interesting play over here is Kristaps Porzingis. He's 6,900. Look at here. He went 43 fantasy points last time out against Blake Griffin and the Clippers. He's been playing well. His minutes should be secure by now. He should shake off the injury bug. I don't mind the play. I like this game. You should be able to, if you can stack this game for shits and giggles. I imagine it shouldn't be that hard. Derrick Rose, 6,300. I love to target the guards over there in Denver. I don't mind the play at 6,300. He's got to give you. I think he's capable of, exceeding value. Brandon Jennings, he's going back to his regular role. His minutes going down. Now he becomes a GPP option. Hernan Gomez, you have to figure out, pick and choose the spots where he's going to be in play. He's 5,200. So his price is going down as well. And he's like I say, he's 5,900 on FanDuel. You have to pick and choose where you think his services will be needed. And that will require some in-depth, research. Kyle O'Quinn, he got the bulk of the minutes last game. So he got 25. He put up 38 fantasy points. So, compare the two, and you can probably figure out which one would be needed. It looks like they're playing Kyle O'Quinn more against your rough physical center. So keep that in mind. Um, nine game slate. I probably won't go too far off into the smaller guys. But Carmelo Anthony is a very nice play to me, just because we know he can bring you some upside on that price tag off pure value alone. Uh, the Knicks are favored by 2 in this one, so Vegas think this is going to be a high-scoring, close game, which would always, work out well for a fantasy player, especially with the chance of overtime. You know, that's something that we thrive for, and you'll love to have a piece of that game. It doesn't have to give you 40, to hit value, so that's one thing to look out. Denver might be playing some small ball, so that speeds up the tempo. So it's a lot to love about this game. I'm definitely loving this one. Moving over to Miami and Brooklyn. What do we have for this one? 213 total. Miami by 6.5. Miami is on the road. Hassan Whiteside leading this one off. He's been crushing it lately. His price is back up. 45, 42, 61, 47 fantasy points. Is he back to where we need him to be? I don't know. He gets a juicy matchup today. This game could be up tempo. He's 9,100 on Fanduel, so that's something to look at. He only played 21 minutes last time these two teams played. I don't know what happened. I'm not going back. But I don't mind the play. He's been doing very well lately, and hopefully you see the good white side if you decide to roster him. Goran Dragic, I don't mind the play. I actually like the play. He's coming in at 7,900 on DraftKings, and on FanDuel he is coming in at probably around 8K. Let me see, 8,100. They like I said, they just played a few games ago, not too long ago. He had 41 fantasy points at 7,600. He played 33 minutes. He went 6 for 13 from the field. So they were at home as well. So I don't mind Dragic. Definitely don't mind Dragic. James Johnson, somebody who I'm iffy on. His price is rising up. Tyler Johnson, someone who I actually don't mind to play. Especially you have to keep your eye out on the injury situation between Dion Waiters. If Dion Waiters is back, then I don't know. But Tyler Johnson, like I said, I don't mind to play. He's been kind of all right since he's been back. 30 fantasy points, 35, 12, 26 attempts. He's getting probably around 10 attempts a game. A couple assists here and there. I don't mind the play. I don't mind if you look somewhere else as well. And everybody else, I probably won't be on. Those are probably a couple of the main guys. Like I said, keep an eye out on Dion Waiters' injury situation. On the Brooklyn side of things, you get Brook Lopez, and then you get the rest of these guys. Your Bookers, Bojan, Hollis Jefferson, Kilpatrick, LeVerts, Dinwiddie and Whitehead sitting down here at, damn near minimum price. Some salary relief guys if you feel like you want to throw them in there for some punts. But this is mainly like the all-value team, Nobody's at 7K. Brook Lopez is almost there. Someone who I don't mind, but you don't know. Do these guys even want to win or what? Just it's a trust factor. With these guys, it's starting to be like a trust factor. He played 31 minutes last time they played Miami. He had 27 fantasy points. We know the upside he can bring. His price is going up as well, so that's something to take note. I probably won't be playing him. But moving on, San Antonio and Detroit. Interesting one here. A 209 total. San Antonio by 4.5. Detroit is at home. Coming over here to the San Antonio side of things, it's interesting. Kawhi Leonard, his price he's down at 8,200, and on Fanduel he is priced at 9,600. So that's a whole 1,400, difference. If you want to play him, it'll definitely benefit you more if you play him on DraftKings. Just want to point that out. So for what he can do and what he's been doing, hey, 8,200, it's it's damn near like a no-brainer. He's hitting that in his sleep. 47, 41, 42, 55. He hasn't. It's been a while. In his last 10 games, he's only went under 40 one time, and that's 39 fantasy points, and that was against Dallas. So he's hit that 40 fantasy point mark every single game. So that's something to keep an eye out when you're constructing your roster. A very nice price tag on Kawhi Leonard tonight. LaMarcus Aldridge, you'll get him at 6,400 on DraftKings, and on FanDuel you'll be able to get him at 7,500, another 1,100 difference. Someone who I don't mind is a GPP option to me, because I'm still relishing on his pass abilities, and it's just like he just can't, show that upside. He has been consistent. He's pretty consistent, around that 30 fantasy point range. But I like to see him right here around the 6K, no more than 6,500 range. It just looked like that's what he's going to be able to provide for you. So I don't mind the play. Then you got David Lee, Tony Parker, Dedmon. Dedmon is an interesting player at 4K. He's going to have to give you 20 to hit value. Something we know he can do. I'd imagine he'll get around the 20-25 minute range today. So that's looked like something that he can probably, especially going against Drummond. I think they'll probably need him to play that amount of minutes, maybe more. You never know. And the rest of these guys, they're just some darts. I won't be I can't do it with the Spurs. They're just yeah. On the Detroit side of things, Andre Drummond priced down at 7,700. Been smashing it. I'm not a big fan of the rebounding situation over there in San Antonio. Do I think he can hit value? Yes, I do think he can hit value. He'll have to stay out of foul trouble, and I think he can hit value. I've seen some guys have some monster games against Paul Gasol and LaMarcus Aldridge. Dedmon, he's a different type of player, though, so keep that in mind. But I don't mind Andre Drummond in this one. Marcus Morris, I probably won't be on him. Caldwell Pope, I'm iffy on that one. Tobias Harris, Tobias used to be one of my favorite plays, especially early off in the season, man. He's at 5K right now. He's at 5K. Man, he's been a GPP option. I have not looked his way. That's it's crazy, but it is what it is. Reggie Jackson, you'll get him at 4,900 on DraftKings. On FanDuel, you get him at 5,700. That's a whole 800 difference. Now, you say you'll get him at he's not even 5K, so he doesn't need 25 to hit value. He's playing a low amount of minutes. I'm not mad at you if you fire him up. You know, I like to think of this situation as like this. If I fire him up today and he does well, I got to fire him up tomorrow. If he feels like, or the next game, if he's in, you catch these players at 4,900 when they're at their low point, and then somehow they run off a string of games of, of just exceeding value, then it's just a good spot to take him at, especially if you're running multiples. And if he exceeds value for you, it's a win. I like the matchup, but like I said, if he exceeds value for you, then it's a win. Because then, it gives you a little confidence to roster him again. And, if you can catch a string of 3, 4, 5 games of him playing well, then guess what? You won. Moving over there, another thing I want to point out is Ish Smith. He's playing a part in that because his minutes have been rising. So he's seeing 20 minutes a game. He was in the teens. Now it's gradually moving up. And he's been tearing it up in his little minutes. It's hidden value. And that's playing a part, I ain't mad at the coach for doing that. John Lure, he's at 4,500. He's been logging minutes lately. He always logs minutes. Just a sneaky guy, He's always an under the radar sneaky guy that hits value at around between that 4 and 4,500, price range. He hits value, and he's always a sneaky play. Moving over to the Golden State and Memphis game. Let me see what I have here. Golden State and Memphis. These guys, Memphis plays tough, man. They beat, they put their hands on Golden State every once in a while. So we got 215 and a half point total, and Golden State by 7.5. Now, Golden State's on the road. Golden State, interesting team, man. You got to love Golden State. So here we go. You got Stephen Curry, Durant, Draymond Green, Klay Thompson headlining this one. Keep an eye out for the Zaza Pachulia situation and the McGee situation. McGee went down. He's probable. He's been tearing it up, and he's very efficient in small amount of minutes. He's very efficient in a small amount of minutes. Some guy, he said 3,500. He definitely can go 10 times given 20, 25 minutes with ease. The rotations in Golden State are weird. He gets a chance if he plays, he gets a chance to see Marc Gasol tonight, and you got to, I would love to see him get at least 20, 25 minutes tonight. So that'll be a sight to see. But moving on over, I don't mind the play, especially if he plays at a salary saving price, and you don't get Golden State at the hammer time. Hammer time is around, that last game of the night. We're getting Golden State at mid slate, beginning of the slate. So you don't look around and see Steph Curry's and Durant's passing you by late night. Now, Steph Curry, he's 9,500. I don't mind. I don't mind the play. He's 9,500 on DraftKings. I'm on Fanduel as well. Durant, I don't mind the play. These guys will probably be up for it. I believe they lost the last time they played. Durant is 10-3 on FanDuel, and he is 9-4 right here on DraftKings, so you can get him cheaper. Interesting price tag on Draymond Green. He's 7,500 on DraftKings, and on FanDuel he is 8K. And you look at Draymond Green, what he's been doing. Of course, we all know the minutes are there. Um, he's been hitting and exceeding value a little bit lately, especially in these last two games. So you get him at 7,500. Memphis will try to pace it down. So it's just decisions to be made. You got four guys over here. You have to pick and choose, which ones to play. I don't mind either one of them, truthfully. Looking on the Memphis side of things, you're getting Marc Gasol at 7,400. I definitely don't mind the play. I don't know if I'll be on him. He's 8,400, a whole thousand different on Fanduel. Mike Conley, I feel like he's going to have to get up for this one. I'm not a big fan of Steph's defense. He's coming in at 7,300 on DraftKings. I really like that play. And on FanDuel, he's priced around the same at 4,300. I like Mike Conley today. He's definitely on my radar. Keep an eye out for Zach Randolph, and I think Chandler Parsons is already ruled out. Zach Randolph, like I said, keep an eye on that situation. He's someone who can get buckets, and if he didn't play last game, so if he does decide to play this game, I think he'd be up for it. So just keep an eye out on that situation. And then you get a bump when you're playing these guys, especially if you're down. When you're playing, because they shoot a lot of jump shots, so there's a lot of rebounding opportunity. They like to keep the pace up, and I definitely think that not Minnesota, Memphis would like to, keep the pace down on this one, so things can go their way. So it'll be a battle of pace, So if Memphis can beat them up and bang them out, they think they have a better chance of winning this game, which would, rightfully so. But if Randolph doesn't give it a go, then Jermichael Green's auto. I wouldn't say auto, but he's a nice plug and play at 5,100. Last time he got to start was against Phoenix last game, 29.5 fantasy points on that 4,200 price tag. He did well. Tony Allen, hey, you want to be sneaky? Tony Allen defense will be needed, definitely. So, and he's somebody who's been, hanging around that 20-point fantasy range the last couple of games. And I'd like to say he'll get a bump going against this squad here. Extra motivation when you're going against Golden State. Without Chandler Parsons, you can look for Vince Carter and Enos and the rest of those boys. So keep an eye out on injury situations over there. Moving on over to Indiana and not San Antonio, Indiana and Washington. We know Washington like to run. We have a 214.5 point total. Washington by 5. Washington is at home where they have been tearing it up at home. So that's something to keep in mind, keep an eye out on, when you're betting on games and things like that. Washington has been tearing it up at home. Injury situation to Thaddeus Young, and that's about it over here on the injury side of things. Keep an eye out on Thaddeus Young. If he plays or not, then LaVoy Allen, he steps up and gets minutes. You can look at LaVoy Allen real fast. He's been getting 23, 30, 32. He's been, doing what he can in those minutes. He did have that against Detroit. He did hit for 42 fantasy points, and that was a plus for him. CJ Miles, someone who has been logging in a nice amount of minutes lately. He played 35 minutes in that last one against Cleveland. I believe they went to overtime. Yes, he had 32 fantasy points. I don't mind C.J. Miles today. Miles Turner has got a tough matchup against the Polish Hammer Gortat. Miles Turner, he's athletic. He's playing a lot of minutes right now. If he can get a little crafty around that basket, at 5,800, I don't mind the play. Definitely in that pace of game. On Fanduel, he's priced at 6,400. So at 6,800, 5,800, keep that in mind. 5'8". He doesn't have to give you 30 to hit value. So I think he deserves some consideration. Jeff T, I like to play. I'm not a fan of Wall's defense. Paul George, I don't know if I'll be rostering him. In this pace of game, I don't mind the play, but I don't know if I'll be rostering him. At 8K, he's been tearing it up, for Paul George standards, but I don't know if I'll be rostering him. I'll probably be looking to get it. If I do want a piece of this game, I could probably get a piece of this game for cheap and keep it moving. But this is a nice looking game. It could be deceiving. You can stack it and all types of things. You can mix it with another high total on the slate and come out really, really, really nice. Just got to nail it down. On the Washington side of things, John Wall, he's self-explanatory, man. He can go off at that price. He's 10-4 on DraftKings. With John Wall, it's about, do you want to pay? He has the upside, the 40, 50, 60 point upside. So it's all about, do you want to play him or whatever? What type of upside you're looking on your roster and the players that you roster, what type of upside that you're looking on, on that price tag. Bradley Beal, I like to play. His price is rising. He's priced at 7,400 on DraftKings, and on FanDuel he's priced at 7,500. So, for what he's been doing lately, man, he's been A-okay. Somebody who I rarely roster, and you just cringe when you see those numbers and you miss them. So, 45 fantasy points, 60 fantasy points, and with somebody like me, I only run one lineup, and it's just, in my situation, you just can't run everybody. Tonight is a slate that I feel like I want to run double, at least two lineups, and so that's something for me to decide. Markieff Morris is sporting a questionable tag. He was a late scratch last game, something to keep an eye out on. Otto Porter, he's in play. Marcin Gortat, he's in play. Kelly Oubre Jr., he really bombed on me last game. He really ticked me off, man. Seriously. But DFS, what can you say? He got the start and he didn't do nothing with it. But, as far as the starting lineup, they're all in play like every time they do play. And they're at home and they play very well at home. Gortat is a guy that his price tag is sticking around that 6K range, and he's always a good option to stack with. John Wall, 6,100. I like to play 7K on FanDuel. He hits value like every game, and he does show some upside. Around the late 40s, early 50 fantasy point, upside, and I definitely don't mind that play, Moving over to LA Lakers and Minnesota. What do we have here now? We have a 219-point total. Milwaukee by 4.5. Man. Milwaukee at home. LA Lakers, they just coming off a game with the Detroit Pistons getting smashed. Drummond went ape shit. He didn't even. Most of the starters didn't even play the fourth. So let's jump right into it. D'Angelo Russell, his price is declining. He's coming in at 5,900. He's probably priced somewhere on Fanduel. Let me check for you guys 1 second. 5,900. He's priced the same. Not a very nice outing last game. He only played 20 minutes, and then the game before that he played 20 minutes. You got to figure out, what's the deal. Lakers are probably somebody who, I'm probably not even going to roster anyone from this side. I mean, from the Lakers anyway. But it's hard for me to nail down anyone who I like. We see Julius Randle. He can be an interesting play. His minutes are going up, which I had a feeling that his minutes would go up. He's coming in at 5,400. Someone who we know he can hit that price tag, But the rest of these guys, I mean, I just in this slate, I'm not even gonna look towards the Lakers' way. Truthfully, I doubt it. I seriously doubt it. But pick your poison with these guys and be careful. I just want to go over to the Milwaukee side of things. Oh man, it's sad, man. Jabari Parker went down. A Chicago native. I'm a Chicago native, man. It's unfortunate, A great guy, a great person, a great player. I had him in my lineup when he went down, torn ACL or whatever. But we have to, move on. We get ABC. He's coming in at 10-8 on DraftKings, and on FanDuel he's 11-2. He's going to have to do some heavy lifting. I don't mind the play. Greg Monroe. I would imagine they'll need him to step up and, be an offensive flame over there. With all the bigs they got over there, they should be able to, slide him to the 4, slide him to the, play him at the 5, slide him to the 4. There's ways they can be creative with Greg Monroe to help them out offensively. It's just when I look at Greg Monroe, I look at the rest of these bigs, and there's something that I didn't do that I should have done this morning. Was look at how many minutes did these guys play. So they just recently acquired Roy Hibbert. Looks like he didn't play last game. Spencer Hawes. Let me see. So it's something, you just got to keep an eye out how they're going to roll this rotation. You got Thon, Mirza, Middleton. How many minutes did Middleton play? He's limited. He played 15 minutes last game. I know they can't wait for him to get back up to speed. Michael Beasley is a candidate up, for getting extra minutes in the absence of Jabari Parker. We know what he can do. Jason Kidd is someone that you can hardly trust. John Henson. Jason Kidd likes John Henson. You just got to hope you don't get burned by the minutes train. Someone who I don't mind tonight. I probably won't be playing him though. So, sticky situation over there in Milwaukee. When you do roster somebody over here, you got to make sure. If, outside of ABC, he's safe. The minutes are there. Got to get the production up. He did have a 61 fantasy point output against Phoenix. So he's got the Lakers. I don't mind the play. I like the play. I don't know if I'll have him, but I like the play. Moving over to New Orleans and Minnesota. An interesting game here. We got two baby Bulls going at it. 214 point total. Minnesota by 3.5. Minnesota's at home. We got the clash of the Titans between Anthony Davis and Karl Anthony Towns. So, starting right off at the back, you get Davis at 10K. 10.1 on DraftKings. On Fanduel, you get him at 10.9. So he's under 11K on Fanduel. Major upside. We know what he can do. He has major upside. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say I don't mind the play. I mean 50. It's got to give you 50 to hit value. You want to see that 60. For that 6 times. I don't know if he's gonna be able to do that. He's more than capable of, doing it. So there you have it. But moving along to Jrue Holiday. I don't mind the play. I like the play. Someone who can get his own shot. He's taking around, between that 10, 15, 20, depending on how much they need him. He take a nice amount of shot. His shots were very limited, I could last game because they were going against Utah, and Utah is a pretty nice defensive team. But all the other games he went, he took a nice amount of shots, and that's what you want. So he's not, he has a nice. I think Jrue Holiday is around 6'3", 6'4", or something like that. So he gets a few assists and rebounds there that helps him out, with his fantasy production, and then he can go off, for 30 points or more any given night. I'm not a big fan of the defense by Rubio, so that's another thing to take into consideration. At 7,800, I like to play. On FanDuel, he's priced at 7,900. We know he has that upside on that price tag. He doesn't have to give you 40 to hit value. Upwards of 30, yeah, but he doesn't have to give you 40 to hit value. And then he can turn in a 50-point fantasy game, right before your eyes, quick. Terrence Jones, probably somebody who I'm not on. Keep an eye out on Evan's situation, with all the tightness and everything he has going on. Etuan Moore and the rest of these guys are nothing but GPP options. But I'm just focused on really Anthony Davis and Jrue Holiday. And for those purposes, I think these guys are in play. Minnesota, on Minnesota side of things, you got these three guys right here, they're headlining it. The Wham, the Bam, and the Thank You Man. When you got Karl Anthony Towns, Andrew Wiggins, and Ricky Rubio, these are the guys who are going to have to do it for him. So, first off, I'm looking at Karl Anthony Towns. We know he has upside. He's 10K. And on FanDuel, he's priced at 10.7. So, he fiddles around at the 4 and the 5 slot. So, I'm quite sure he won't be guarding. I don't know how they're going to try to guard, Anthony Davis. I don't know. I don't even know who will be guarding him. I do know he's a good player. Am I on him? Shit. It's a toss-up. This right here is something that I'm going to have to, meditate on a little bit more harder. But as a basketball fan, I'm going to love to watch this game tonight. I'm going to love to watch this game. These guys are the future, man. Andrew Wiggins is somebody who I like. At 7,200, the volume's there, the minutes are there, especially if he can step up, keep his peripherals up. Man, he can be a very nice fantasy player. At 7,100 on DraftKings, I definitely don't mind the play. At 7,600 on FanDuel, The small forward position is a position that, New Orleans have been giving it up to lately, and that's something to keep in mind. So I really love that play. And Rubio, at 6,400, his price is creeping down a little bit. I don't know if I'll be on him, but I don't hate the play. He's 6,500 on Fanduel. Then you got guys like Shabazz Muhammad, interesting plays as well. Somebody who can show some upside on that price tag given the minutes. I'd like to see Shabazz around that 25 minutes at least. I definitely don't mind a play though. I definitely don't. So at 4,300, he's somebody you can look at and you can consider. The rest of these guys, I can't, GPP options only for me. Moving over to one of the late night games, what we like to call hammers games. ATL is centered at Sacramento. So Sacramento's at home. We're looking at a 208.5 point total. Atlanta by 1.5. Interesting. Let's see. We'll look on the Atlanta side of things. Oops. If I can get them pulled up here, 1 second. Okay. Atlanta. Welcome to Atlanta. Now, Cephalosha, he's been ruled out already. And that's like taking a toll defensively, when it comes to like that 2 and that 3 spot. He usually does a little defensive dirty work. But it also opens up the door for this guy here, Tim Hardaway Jr., somebody who I want to talk about. I think Tim Hardaway Jr. is in play. He's multi-positional, so you can play him at the point guard position and the shooting guard position on FanDuel. That's something to keep in mind. On DraftKings. So on FanDuel, you're looking at getting him at a price tag of 5,600. Price very similar. So, he's somebody who I don't mind. If you can find better value and you feel like you can nail it down, then so be it. Bazemore, he's a GPP option for me. I just can't with Bazemore. It's got to be a shorter slate, where there's not many options for me to go. He's so off and on, in and out, But going back up here to the top, we're starting off with Millsap. Do I like the play? 7,600. He can show upside, There's probably other juicy options, other juicy games and better players I'm looking at. Would I be mad if you pick him? Probably not. He'll probably see a lot of boogie, so there's always risk for foul trouble and things like that. Dwight Howard, interesting play. Someone who we know can go off any given day. This is an interesting game. The late night slate was going to be interesting with the 2 late night games that we have. But it's just an interesting game. 6,700. We know he has upside on that price tag. I'm kind of iffy on him, but hey, I don't mind the play. If you fire him up, hey, I don't mind it. We know what he can do. So, he doesn't have to give you 40 to hit value. We know he can give you 40, 50, 60. So that's not a problem. Just worried about his minutes and his production and staying out of foul trouble. Moving over to Dennis Schroeder. You got to pick and choose when you want to play this guy here. We knew he's going up against Denver, and Denver likes to give it up against the point guards. He's going up against a different type of team tonight. Sacramento doesn't like to play up tempo, and it seems like Atlanta they adjust to. They don't control that. They don't control the tempo very well. I like to think that Atlanta like to slow the things down. So I don't know if I'll be rostering him tonight at 6,600. I don't know. I mean, there's other juicy games that I can find, you know, value at, at that price tag. But I do like I said, I do like Hardaway Jr. Because he can get his own shot. Um, he's playing a ton of minutes and he's cheaper. One of the cheaper options on this team. Moving over to Sacramento, and then Sacramento, they're not very well against that two guard position, although they are making some adjustments. Like starting to give what's his name, Ben McLemore. So they're starting to give Ben McLemore a little bit more minutes. He's a pretty he's an all right defender. So there you have it. Anyway, Boogie's back, so he if he can stay out of foul trouble or stay out of technical foul trouble, I don't mind the play. I'm seriously considering looking elsewhere, but you get Boogie at 10-7. You get Boogie at 10-7 on DraftKings. That's not even 11K. On Fanduel, he's 11-2. So, he doesn't even, 5 times, he ain't got to give you 60. He has upside with the best of them. It's something for me to think about if I want to roster him tonight. But we all know he can blow at any given time. Matt Barnes, someone who does the dirty work. He's playing a ton of minutes. He's doing awesome. I don't, from an aggressive standpoint, I don't see anyone over there stopping his aggressiveness. He's definitely in play. Lawson, someone who I was just gonna say someone who I think he's doubtful. So, that kind of changes things. Temple is still out. Casby's out. Darren Collison, this team is just decimated by injuries and things like that. So it's just putting more and more wear and tear and duties on Darren Collison's shoulder, which we like for fantasy purposes. I definitely like to play. So if you don't decide to roster Boogie, then Matt Barnes and Darren Collison are some nice one-offs from this game that can really make a difference in your lineups at a very reasonable price. So there you have it. Costa Kufas, Carly Steen. Carly Steen had a very nice alley-oop dunk last game. I don't know if you guys seen it or not, but But these guys, Anthony Tolliver, some cheaper options, that they're gonna have to step up. The point guard situation is ugly over here, with Lawson down, Flalo and McLemore. All these guys. I'm wondering if McLemore is gonna have to step into the fold a little bit more. And then you got the young boy Richardson. They're just decimated by injuries over here, and there are some cheaper options. Flalo, GPP, and the rest of those guys are probably GPPs. The main picks over here are Cousins, Barnes, and Collison. They're definitely all in play. So, and if this game stays close, which will be a surprise, then you might be able to see some overtime. Last game of the night, we have Chicago at Phoenix. My hometown boy, Chicago. Bulls. We don't have a total for this one. Wade was out. We're going to look at the Chicago side of things. Wade was out last game against Golden State with the sickness. Jimmy Butler is questionable. I think he's more close to playing tonight, but hey, we got to keep an eye on that situation. And then the Bulls play very late tonight, so oh man, we got to take that with a grain of salt. So we'll be sitting on the edge of our seats for some injury news, although the Bulls have been pretty nice with putting out injury news kind of early. Taj Gibson, somebody who's been playing a decent amount of minutes. I'd like to see Taj around that 30-minute mark. But probably because of the bad game last game. He's going against Golden State. He played 36 minutes in that overtime one, so he can't be efficient. It's looking like Hoiberg doesn't want to push him to that 30-minute mark. I'd love to see him there. Robin Lopez, all the rest of these guys, they're just GPP option. But Robin Lopez could be an interesting play. They'll probably need his services. He's playing more minutes than Taj. He's been lately. This little mid-range shot he's been taking. He's been hitting it lately, so that's been adding to his points lately. As you can see, he's been getting around 10, 15 points, and real points, and that's something to look out for. Him being able to step out and hit that little mid-range jumper. Am I on him? For late night purposes, he's going to make an interesting play in the late night. Probably not on him in the main slate. But I can't really, the rest of these guys, the GPP options, I probably won't even be going near them. But on the other side of things, we can look at Phoenix. We got Eric Bledsoe headlining this one. He's coming in at 7,200 on DraftKings. And on Fanduel, he's 8,300. I'm loving the price tag, number one. He doesn't need much to hit. Well, he can hit value. I mean, I think he can hit that price tag. I like to play tonight. I definitely do. I'm going to be looking a little bit more harder at this one, but I really like to play. Devin Booker is someone, I really like to play on this one. 6,500, you can get both of these guys at a very cheap price. Devin Booker is priced at 6,800 on FanDuel and 6,500 on DraftKings. I like those price points on him. Tyson Chandler, somebody who I'm probably not on for the main slate. I'm more focused on Devin Booker and Eric Bledsoe and this one. And Warren, PJ Tucker, some guys that just logged, a ton of minutes. Marquise Chris, he logs a nice amount of minutes as well. And just a cheaper option when you're looking for a GPP flyer. PJ Tucker, 4,400. Like I say, he gets a lot of minutes. He'll probably, they really like his defensive prowess over here, and it's probably somebody I won't be on. TJ Warren, last couple games, he's been looking like he's been wanting to step up his offensive game. They played Memphis. It was a tough game against Memphis for him. Other than that, against Indiana, 35 fantasy points, 28, 30. He'll be looking to pick that back up tonight. And at 4,800, somebody, that deserves consideration. And that's about it, I want to thank you guys for making it through the end of this one with me, whether you're listening or, whether you're watching on YouTube. I thank you guys for, just keeping it real with me every day. The feedback is, appreciated, and I can't say enough. I can't say enough. Remember, like, subscribe. If you like the video, hit that like button. And before this video is over, I'm going to give you guys a few of my favorite plays from each game. Now, let's see. Denver and New York, there's just too much to like about this one. Favorite play is Jokic. I love Melo, Wilson. I just love this game, guys. I just have to keep it on. Keep it 100 with you on that one. Miami and Brooklyn. Favorite plays. Definitely kicking it off. Definitely Goran Dragic. I just like Goran Dragic in this one. He's really, he's the general. He's the floor general. So I definitely don't think you can go wrong with that one. Hassan Whiteside, he deserves some consideration as well because he's been playing well lately. San Antonio and Detroit. Favorite play from this one would be Kawhi Leonard. Hands down, at this price on DraftKings, and I wouldn't be surprised if you guys fade him on Fanduel. To me, he's like a DraftKings play only. You get him at about $1,400 cheaper, so he's really intriguing on DraftKings. And Reggie Jackson, like I said, if you play Reggie Jackson today and he does well, it'll lighten it up for you where you can fire him up the next game. And at 4,900, he deserves consideration. Caldwell Pope as well. And Drummond, I wouldn't mind some Drummond and Aldridge. Drummond especially. I would definitely don't mind some Drummond. So there you have it. Golden State and Memphis. Favorite play over here on, I have to probably go out on a limb and say Kevin Durant. He has the size. I definitely love me some Kevin Durant. All them guys though, they're in play in the Golden State. This might be a game where Kevin Durant might have to, because he's been kind of, lately Steph Curry has been tearing it up, and this is the game before he goes home to OKC to his old home. So maybe he might need a little warming up. Am I rostering him? I highly doubt it. I'd probably fade the whole game. You never know. Conley, I love Conley in this one. He's probably one of my favorite plays, and Klay Thompson to get a piece of this game for cheap. And Draymond Green is sporting a very nice price tag at $7,500 along with Marc Gasol. Indiana and Washington. Favorite plays from this one, coming off the back, Gortat. It's not much to dislike. At 6,100, there's not much to dislike. Miles Turner. Marcus Gortat, he's been killing it. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. You've been riding them. Congratulations to you. And they're at home. They play well at home. They win at home. They're in a hell of a streak at home. Miles Turner, for price considerations, hey, 5,800. I like the play. Jeff Teague and Bradley Beal are some of my. I'd like to say Jeff Teague is probably one of my favorite plays. Bradley Beal as well. John Wall is self-explanatory. I don't know if I'll be rostering George. I don't know. Moving over to the LA and Milwaukee. It's too much going on here for me. My favorite play is ABC. I'm just going to keep it moving. On New Orleans and Minnesota side of things, jumping right off into it, I'll have to say Anthony Davis, Drew Holiday, and Wiggins are my favorite plays from over there. ATL Sacramento. On the ATL side of things, I have to say Hardaway Jr. I like Hardaway Jr. Um, on Sacramento side of things, I'm iffy on Cousins tonight. Hey, it is what it is. In this slate, the way my roster is going to be constructed, it might not include DeMarcus Cousins. If I do a second lineup, I definitely would give him some consideration. Um, but DeMarcus Cousins is in play. My favorite plays would probably be Matt Barnes and uh, Matt Barnes. Good God! Oh, okay, there he is. Darren Collison, Matt Barnes, and Tim Hardaway. Did I mention on New Orleans side of things Anthony Davis and Drew Holiday? Right. Can't yeah. These first 1, 2, 3, 4. Those are the guys right there. Anthony Davis, Towns. If I had to pick, I'd probably I'm liking Andrew Wiggins a little more than Towns, and I'm about level playing. You know what? My favorite two players from this game is gonna be Drew Holiday and Andrew Wiggins, and I'll leave it at that. Now, moving over to the last game, Chicago and Phoenix. It's hard to figure out who's going to play. This game would be juicy if Wade and Butler play. But for who's playing right now, Eric Bledsoe and Booker. You can stack those guys. I mean, if these guys don't perform, then they don't win, man. The team kind of like goes as they go, and for those purposes, I love those two. Um, if Jimmy Butler and Wade are active, I like those guys as well. And with that being said, guys, I'm gonna leave you out with that. Like I say, like, subscribe, give me a thumbs up. Check us out on Support District Radio in the category My Radio Chicago. Then follow me on social media sites. Twitter, and also check out draftshot.com. And thanks, you all. Thanks. I'm out of here.